got to fight this guy. Oh, you got injured in camp. You lose to that guy too. Now you're set back when you could have been a champion.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of like weirdness going on with possibilities and, you know, just luck, bad luck, and good luck.
Bad luck and good luck. Timing, I think, is a big thing.
How is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled.
And then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully.
Joe Rogan didn't hold back when he addressed Jake Paul's rumored fight with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He made it clear that the size difference between the two fighters isn't just unfair, it's dangerous. Rogan explained that weight classes exist for a reason, to protect fighters from exactly this kind of mismatch. He pointed out that Jake seems more focused on building hype and selling pay-per-views and maintaining the integrity of boxing. With his larger build, greater reach, and heavier punches, Jake could seriously hurt Tank, who's much smaller and naturally lighter. Rogan's message was simple. Promoting a spectacle shouldn't come at the cost of safety. The fight, he said, feels less like competition and more like a risky stunt designed to grab attention.
But no time limit within the weight class.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
That would be that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy.
Because you know, like two guys are facing off each other, like, and they know, like, there's no rescue every 5 minutes.
Yeah. And you go into it knowing you're either getting knocked down or submitted, or you're doing that.
Michael Bisping joined the conversation with his own strong take on the situation. He couldn't believe Jake Paul was preparing to face someone who is nearly 100 pounds lighter. To him, that's not a fair contest. It's a setup that ignores the entire spirit of boxing. Bisping reminded everyone that Jake's last headline fight against Mike Tyson already raised eyebrows, considering Tyson's age and long retirement. Now, by targeting Gervonta Davis, a smaller active fighter, it feels like Jake is chasing publicity rather than proving skill. Bisping explained that boxing has always been built on equality. Fighters meet within the same range of size and strength to test their real abilities. But when one fighter holds every physical advantage before the bell even rings, the competition loses meaning. He said plainly that this kind of matchup risks turning the sport into entertainment theater instead of athletic challenge.
A bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, I just beat the baddest man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him, and him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers, if you want everyone on the planet to look at you and take you seriously and give you credit as a boxer, you have to take on challenges that are real. You have to go up against someone that keeps you up at night, against someone that gets you out of bed in the morning to go for a run because the fear of them beating you down is real. Not going up against someone that is so small. If you were to go up to this guy in a bar and try and start a fight with them, people would look at you and say one word, whoa, stop being such a bully. Leave him alone. You are way bigger than this guy. And that's clearly what we have here. It is ridiculous. When you look at the tail of the tape, Gervonta "Tank" Davis, granted, a very, very skilled boxer, a world champion. He's had some great wins. He's had a tremendous career. He's got 28 knockouts on his record. I'm just looking at the tail of the tape here. 30 years old, Jake Paul, 28. Gervonta Davis is 5'5" tall, whereas Jake Paul is 6'1". I would never dream on picking on a guy that is 5'5" tall. Granted, there's some tough guys out there that are 5'5", okay? They're smaller guys, but for 5'5", they'll pack a good punch. Typically, they're mixed martial artists.
Teddy Atlas didn't mince words either. When he saw the face-off between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis, he immediately highlighted the absurd size gap. He joked that Tank would need a ladder just to reach Jake's chin, and while it got laughs, his point was serious. Atlas emphasized that boxing isn't just about skill. Physical balance plays a major role in safety and fairness. While differences in fighting styles and strategy are part of what makes the sport exciting, this matchup stretches that balance beyond reason. In his view, Tank's reach and power simply won't match Jake's strength advantage, turning what should be a competitive fight into something closer to a mismatch. Atlas warned that no matter how talented Tank is, some physical limits can't be overcome, and ignoring them risks both.
They should also have like the size of the ring, the size of the glove, all that stuff. Particulars should be in the contract. But I would probably look for one thing that is not the common thing to have in a contract if I'm Tank. A ladder. A ladder. Can I get a ladder? Somebody? You know what I mean? Hey, look, if he hits him on the chin the way he can punch, Jake might be doing a dance. You know what I mean? Not voluntarily either. But we'll get into that more later. The thing that I'm talking about right here is what you said. It was stark. The size difference was really, you couldn't ignore it. We understand the talent difference, the experience difference. We understand all of that. But the size, the pure, and we understand small guys can beat big guys. We just saw Crawford do it to Canelo, but a little different. The size difference was, it was eye-catching, jaw-dropping. And it made me think, and I'm going to ask Richie, our man here who's doing all the taping, who does such a marvelous job. I'm going to ask him, because I know he's an expert in this area, but it reminded me of one of the Rocky movies where they had the face, where they did the wrestling thing with Rocky and Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. Thunder Lips.
Joe Rogan circled back to explain that Jake Paul's choices seem less about real rivalry and more about staying relevant. He said Jake knows how to draw attention, and he's mastered the art turning controversy into headlines. These matchups, Rogan argued, are designed to appeal to casual fans who are drawn to spectacle more than technique. The constant talk of betting odds, viral moments, and shock value all serve the same purpose: to keep Jake's name trending. Rogan made it clear that while Jake has successfully built a global brand through boxing, the matchups themselves often lack genuine sporting value. It's promotion disguised as competition. Still, Rogan acknowledged that Jake's strategy works, because every time people criticize him,
that makes it a problem. My opinion is, I just want to say, in case someone calls me into court, I'm a fucking idiot and I don't know nothing. And don't take my advice.
I love the Saudis.
Don't take my opinion.
I love the Israeli government. I love everybody.
That had nothing to do with them. That was Jake Paul promoting it. It's just doesn't bother me.
There's compromising the sport, and that's like bad. It's just like
if I bet on it,
watching
it the
is
fuck out
hard.
of me.
Watching it with people who are so in on it, and then also the sports betting apps. They introduced chat apps in them in Australia, so it's they're trying to take the place of social media companies where you go together and you meet your friends. Betting should be exciting enough without having a weird.
They're just trying to draw you in. Thing. They're just trying to make money.
Leonard Ellaby offered a different angle, focusing on Gervonta Davis himself. He revealed that Tank was in the right mental space to face Lamont Roach earlier in his career. According to Ellaby, Tank had been dealing with deep personal struggles and didn't want to take on added pressure while his mind wasn't clear. That's why the fight never happened, even though fans had been eager for it. Ellaby explained that Tank's decision wasn't about fear or avoiding competition. It was about protecting his peace. Sometimes, stepping away from the ring is smarter than fighting when you're emotionally drained. He said Tank needed time to focus on his personal life before he could fully commit to boxing again. Recent reports now suggest that Gervonta Davis might retire after his fight with Jake Paul. Insiders say this decision isn't about chasing more titles or building legacy. It's about financial security. Tank has faced enormous pressure, both in and outside of the ring. Step forward. Analysts believe Tank sees this as his final opportunity to cash out and set himself up for life beyond boxing. And when you think about it, that's understandable. Years of fighting take a toll, and the chance to walk away healthy and wealthy is rare. This fight, then, becomes less about proving skill, more about ending his career on his own terms, with enough money to finally rest.
Let's go band for band on what you make. Again, there's nothing wrong with Tank going to get his money, but let's all be clear that that's all the fight is for Tank. He's telling you without telling you that he's fighting Jake just because he's getting $40 million. So when we talk about boxing being dead, Tank has to line up at the front of the line. I can't blame him, but don't throw around, oh, boxing's dead and people switch sides and all of that. You chose not to be great. That's it. You chose not to be great. Stuff like that, choices like that will kill boxing. for sure. On a competitive level, it won't kill it on a business level. On a business level, until people run out of interest in these kind of matchups, it'll do well. On a competitive level, choosing not to fight the best will kill the sport. So maybe it's better if people like Tank aren't in the sport. And I don't even say that because I want that to be the case. I think Tank is ridiculously talented, but you can't want a fighter to fight more than what they want to. You can't. Tank fans or Tank people that like Tank and think he's one of the best, you can't want it for him. And then Shakur came back with, "That's how I know you soft. I can't even go back and forth with you soft ass. You rather pop to me on social media than get in that fire and get embarrassed. I get it. Peace and blessings upon you, cuz." He says, "The people got you chest out so bad. You talking like you a killer, forgetting that you the one that runs, bitch. I'll be bring the fight to you. This dude, a made-up character. Quote, blessings upon you. Clown-ass dude, wanna be Kevin Gates." Oh my goodness. I mean, here's the thing though. You can't say that stuff about Shakur if you're not willing to fight him. This is the point I think that we're going to come to today, is that Tank can say all this stuff he wants, but if you're not willing to fight Shakur, then none of it means anything anymore. Even if you believe that Tank is going to knock him out, even if you believe that Shakur's a runner, or that he's not in the trenches, or he's not a boxer that's willing to bring the fight, or whatever, none of it matters. You're talking from the...
Couldn't hide his disbelief that this fight was even sanctioned. He pointed to the press conference, recalling how Gervonta Davis himself seemed unsure class the fight would even take place in. To Cormier, that wasn't a small detail. It was a massive red flag. Boxing's weight divisions exist for a reason, he explained, to ensure fair play and protect fighters from unnecessary risk. Cormier argued that ignoring those rules just to create a spectacle sends a bad message about where the sport is heading. He also criticized the organizations that allowed the matchup to move forward, saying they should have stepped in to prevent a contest so clearly one-sided. In his eyes, this isn't innovation, it's irresponsibility. The moment safety becomes secondary to promotion, he said, the sport loses its soul.
First press conference. One of the most recognizable things is Jake Paul is huge compared to Gervonta Davis. And two, Gervonta Davis don't even know what weight they fighting, D.
Maximum weight of 195 pounds for this exhibition. 190. The fight will be contested over 10 3-minute rounds.
I said it was 190.
The fight is 195 pounds, Tank, as you know.
DC, I watched this, and we have our priorities way misplaced when we're talking about boxing. Like, everybody's complaining about this Ali act and all. Like, how is something like this allowed to happen? How is Jake Paul allowed to fight Gervonta Davis? It's completely unfair. It is completely just, it's, I can't say the word that I want to say because I don't want to get canceled, but this fight should not be happening. And the press conference was embarrassing. Gervonta Davis should not have a mic in front of him. It was absolutely embarrassing watching this thing.
D, why, D?
Just the fact that, like, every time when Jake Paul would say something to Gervonta Davis, he didn't know how to answer it. He was comparing himself to, like, P. Diddy at moments, and I was like, oh my God, get a mic away from this guy. This fight shouldn't be happening. And then he didn't even know what weight they were fighting. Like, I thought it was 195.
That was the craziest thing. That was the thing that stood out to me the most. Was that when they go, the rehydration limit or something is 195. And he goes, wait, I thought it was 190.
In a reflective interview, Gervonta Davis opened up about his true motivations. He admitted that when he started boxing, his goal wasn't collect belts or chase fame. It was survival. Boxing was his escape from poverty, a path to change his life and secure a future far away from hardship. For Tank, the sport was never about glory. It was about freedom. That mindset puts his career choices into clearer focus. He fights for stability, not status. Now, with years of battle behind him and a solid reputation built, he's prioritizing what really matters: peace, health, and security for himself and his family. It's a reminder that sometimes the greatest victory isn't in the ring. It's walking away.
Go viral, and I mean go viral, and Jake Paul will never hear the end of it.
Help you up. We're going to go ahead and help you up. We're going to see about it. Help you up. We're going to see.
Because Gervonta Tank Davis is not only a real boxer, he's a real boy. He's 5'5". He's a lightweight. Skills pay the bills. Let him knock out Jake Paul, give him Bambi legs or knock him down. Gervonta Tank Davis, that moment will go viral, and he will be a far bigger, well-known boxer than he is today, and he will also be a hero. And that's the Black Two Sugars. That you guys don't want to admit it. Don't bull jive. Think about.
And that wraps up today's breakdown. This matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis has sparked huge debates about fairness, money, and the very future of boxing itself. From Rogan's frustration to Cormier's concern, one thing is clear. The sport is at a crossroads between legacy and spectacle. Whether this fight ends in a surprise upset or a predictable finish, it's sure to leave fans arguing long after the final bell. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join the discussion.